From Mali, who asks, while piloting within a star system, how will we know our bearing? Aside from the star map and fast travel mechanics, will there be a galactic compass, a grid system, or possibly an XYZ coordinate system to help navigate and identify direction? Well, I mean, you're definitely going to have sort of your navigation star map, which you'll be able to pull up in pretty much any of your ships and be able to sort of lay your waypoint that you'll fly towards. It will have some predetermined navigation points on it, and then there will be most likely a sort of a grid location. I mean, internally in the engine we have XYZ, and so I'm guessing that we'll have something that will be along XY and Z in terms of the coordinate systems inside the systems. We're still sort of playing with the possibility of actually having a dynamic, all the star systems being dynamic, so that means that there would be slow orbits for the various planets. So so then you always get this issue of like, well, is the grid system fixed relative to the center of the system of the star, or is it fixed to one of the rotating planets? But I think we'll probably, for ease of use, go with a sort of a version of XYZ, whether we actually call it XYZ, that would be based around the center of the system, which is where the star would be for the system, or the stars, and then everything be relative to that, and we would kind of go from there. So, but your nav map would be where you would sort of look to see how that happens. But as I said, we're still in the development stages of that, because originally we were planning to have sort of static systems, but with the new large world system that we're going for, and the fact that we're essentially making every sort of like planet or moon or any of that stuff will be its own sort of anchor point and sort of encounter space, and it's sort of defined by its position, but its position can move around and then things move relative with it. We sort of have some more options, so that's sort of the stuff that we're fleshing out right now, and Tony Zurovec and his team in Austin on the Pacific Universe are actually like deep in that kind of stuff right now. Okay, next question comes from Arcanus, who asks, how will navigation or astrogation be handled in Star Citizen? Navigation in general is based, you'll bring up your sort of nav. So when you're in a system, you'll have a sort of a system view as a navigation. And in your system view, you'll sort of navigate to different points of interest. So in the old sort of Wing Commander Privateer model, we would call them sort of nav points. But a nav point could be a planet that you're going to orbit around to land, or a nav point could be a jump point, or a nav point could be an asteroid field that you're going to go and explore to see if you can mine. And so what happens in general is that you have predefined nav points. Think of it like you get your car with a GPS, and the GPS already has some of the roads and cities defined. And in your sort of nav computer, you'll have predefined nav points for most of the sort of known systems that are well trod. And what will happen is you can select them, and then you can basically sort of kind of warp to that area, which is sort of like a autopilot, which was in Wing Commander games and in Privateer, and that's sort of the equivalent of going up to 0.2 of a speed of light that I've mentioned before, which is sort of you can never go faster than light inside a system. The only way you can go faster than light is basically going through a jump point, which is really a fold in time and space. But that's sort of the fast travel inside the system, and then you get pulled out of warp space or 0.2 speed of a light as you get close to another body or another ship, because at those kind of velocities, there's no way that your ship's computer can make corrections quick enough to avoid a collision. So basically, whenever you get close, as you start to get close to something that there could be collision potential, it pulls you out of that sort of warp speed. And so you essentially will select these points to sort of jump to. Now, of course, you could just fly in that direction, and in some cases, this is kind of where astrogation or navigation comes into the fact, well, more exploring side, but you basically can sort of map areas of a system. So there may be areas of a system that aren't mapped, that maybe there's an asteroid field or something, a derelict spaceship or something, and if as you fly around and you have a long-range scanner, you maybe start to map things, and as points of interest come in that you would map, that would create a new nav point on your nav computer, and you could send that to your friends, into your organization, or potentially you could sell, new, some nav points that you've charted. So think of it very much like in the old days, when they were mapping like a coast or a continent, and the old explorers would go around and they would basically do cartography to map out the new world and stuff like that. So we've built that in, and that's kind of how the navigation and astrogation would happen. In terms of traveling from one side of the galaxy to the other side, you basically have to travel in system, go to a jump point, know that the jump point's going to go to this other system, and you basically make the hop, and then in the next system, go fly to the next jump point you want to go, and so on and so on. All right, so I hope that helps. Next question.